John D. Villarreal, and what a night, what a week. It's been unbelievable. I mean, this is a huge win, huge big week. President Trump and his team, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Steve Witkoff, Howard Lutnick, Jared Kushner. There's so many people that were involved in this. Obviously, the State Department, just lots of people. The various delegations, the various different countries were able to hopefully. We believe at this point, it looks like we are on the path to peace in the Middle East. And that is a wonderful thing. And we definitely want to appreciate that. Where am I at here? Let's see. Yes. There we go. So that is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And there are some people that are already calling for the Nobel Prize for President Trump. We have some sound here, and I'm just putting this show together very quickly because I wanted to respond to this as quickly as possible. I'm very busy, but I mean, this is just such an important week here. So let's go to the X account of the White House, public domain information right here. And let's see if we can get this teed up to here. This is Secretary Rubio and the cabinet meeting today. Let's hear what Secretary Rubio has to say. Hopefully I've got my sound set up. Let's see.
Because of the work you put in, and honestly, not only is there no other leader in the world that could have put this together, Mr. President, but frankly, I don't know of any American president in the modern.
One second. Let me see. Let me just tee that up again. Give me a second here, and I'm going to make sure all my settings are correct because sometimes it goes a little bit different here. So yeah, so let's see. I think this is the better way to do it. Let's see if this adjustment works. Hold on.
Because of the work you put in, and honestly, not only is there no other leader in the world that could have put this together, Mr. President, but frankly, I don't know of any American president in the modern era that could have made this possible because of the actions you have taken unrelated to this and because of who you are and what you've done and how you're viewed. And this weekend, because of that, at some point very soon, we are going to see 20 living human beings emerge from the darkness into the light for the first time. And that is because not only were you used the credibility and the power and the prestige of this office and the relationships you created, and you committed yourself.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. The reporting, and I believe Jesse Waters said this on Fox News, was that that Trump, when he went over there with the Middle Eastern trip before through Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, that type of stuff, was definitely announcing deals and trying to get all sides together. Trump has ended so many wars now. I think, what are we up to, 8 or something like that? And that to put the diplomatic effort, the diplomatic push behind trying to have the Gulf states, regions, governments put some pressure on the Gazan side there to make a deal. And conversely, Trump was pushing on Bibi and Israel to make a deal. And there's definitely some reporting about some of the back and forth, and some things happened there, and some frustrations. And listen, it was never going to be easy. I mean, it was never going to be easy. And actually, as a matter of fact, in my opinion only, of course, I have been saying this for quite some time, meaning that, whether I was talking to Sean McGuire, Bill Ackman, so many different people that I was really, talking about on this issue. And I believe that Trump kind of ended up where I was. Not that he was listening to me or anything like that, but I mean, I think that although a lot of people do listen and hear the comments, and what I was trying to say is, and Trump is a master negotiator, don't get me wrong here, but I think that we had different sides that were like, well, they had their positions, whatever it was, right? Whether it was the 2 states or, hostages or whatever. Obviously we have the horrific, tragic, terrible events that kicked off this whole latest war and everything like that. Conversely, we've had a war that went on for just over 2 years, and people saw the repeated images, the devastating images coming out of Gaza, and were pretty horrified at that. and I don't want to get into that debate. I've said many things about that. I've talked to Replit founder Ahmed Majad. Again, my position is everybody needs to be treated with respect, dignity. We need peace and prosperity. You look at the different models around the world, whether it's Dubai, obviously here in America, you're seeing things that are happening in different economic zones. You're seeing things that are happening in Singapore. You're seeing some different opportunities that are opening up. And it's just better to collaborate. Really, war's bad for. Trey Inc. said this right when he reported on stuff from Israel. Like, war's bad. This is obviously a saying that's been around for a long time. War is bad for everybody. Nobody wins. Everybody loses, right? In war, it'd be great if we can wind down the conflict with Russia and Ukraine. And so there's been terrible losses on both sides, and I think that it was never going to be easy to find a path forward. And in fact, you see some Democrats like Senator Fetterman, who's been fantastic, who's been giving a lot of props to President Trump and the team. You see other people on the Democrat side, like, they're kind of, I don't want to say, I want to be kind, right? A little bit stunned because this is, this is a huge accomplishment. And people talk about the Nobel Prize for Trump, and I think he definitely deserves it. It certainly should be nominated. But whether he does, whether he doesn't, I mean, it was always going to be hard. We know that. There's a lot of very experienced diplomats and politicians that have tried to make something happen here. And again, it's a day-by-day situation. Is the ceasefire going to hold? Are people going to live up to all this? All the stuff. Also, there are political ramifications in Israel and across the Middle East and in here. And anytime you have got governments, there's political ramifications, right? And so it was always going, again, I'm repeating myself, but it's just the truth. It was always going to be hard. And in any good deal and negotiation, you never get everything of what you want. Both sides are a little bit happy, a little bit unhappy. That's probably a good deal, right? And I was going to take some pushing, because if it was like, it was never going to be, we get everything, you get nothing, or whatever. And I'm not saying that was ever proposed or any side was trying to do that, but I'm just saying that we had to find a different way. And this is like, I was actually, I don't want to say, I'm not going to maybe be analogized to some other podcasters out there with much bigger audiences than me. But I mean, I was messaging some people recently that have bigger platforms and have definitely, leading voices, some people that I may or may not have already mentioned. And I'm like, look, and this is on more of a media communications policy discussions. I don't want to say too much actually as well, but I was basically like, I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I just been seeing that way this has even just been talked about. And people, but they're, I think are, I like everybody, right? I love everybody. But I mean, I think that I was seeing like this whole debate me, bro. So people weren't, it wasn't, the discussion wasn't getting anywhere. It was, but it wasn't, right? And I'm like, there's got to be a way better way to do this. And I've had some ideas and stuff like that. But I mean, this kind of movement with Trump is, I think, along that line. I'm sorry to be a little bit vague and cryptic. And now that we have, I mean, I kind of want to, apply that in other areas as well. But in terms of this, hopefully we have a solution here, and hopefully we can move forward with Abraham Accords, 2.0 and whatnot, and getting things going. But I mean, you have to tip your hat to President Trump. This is a huge, huge, huge accomplishment. It's a big thing. And let's hear some more from Secretary Rubio here. But I just want to put that in there. And let's hear some more sound here.
Yourself to making it happen. And I think it will go down as a historic moment in the history of our country, and something our country should be very proud of. That we have a president that's committed to not just peace, but to the human aspect of reuniting these families. Because of the work you put in, and honestly, not only is there no other leader in the world that could have put this together, Mr. President, but frankly, I don't know.
We've heard that. So it just really fantastic. And people were absolutely responding to that. And it'd be like, let's just go through here and maybe check a little some of these comments. And some people was like, okay, well, and so we're seeing some different things here. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I think this is a big deal. In my opinion, this is an absolutely big deal. There's no question about it in my mind. I love that. Let's go to Fox News, has some coverage. Now we have some other news as well that we will get to, and we'll just do a real quick show tonight. But I wanted to get some things going on. But here we have Fox News headlines. Letitia James, wait a minute, New York AG. Ooh, wait, what? Look at that headline. Headline, Fox News, her hypocrisy is profound. Lawmakers react to New York Attorney General Letitia James' criminal indictment. Tables turn. And that is a top banner on Fox News right there. Below that, we have the live updates. Document details steps in Trump's comprehensive end of Gaza war proposal. Could Trump win the Nobel Peace Prize? Fetterman breaks with Dems, praises Trump's comprehensive Gaza peace deal. That's phenomenal. That is absolutely great. And and then we've got Jared Kushner there, Steve Witkoff there, Prime Minister Netanyahu right there. It's pieces sometimes. It should be the easy thing when sometimes it's the hard thing, right? And this was a tough situation. Okay, they agree. So we've this headline right here updated a few hours ago. Israel Hamas agreed to phase 1 of peace deal to release hostages, begin ceasefire. So that's great. That's great. Let's see what happens. Let's see how that goes, and hopefully we're going to have continued progress on that. That's excellent. But I think it's such a big day. It is such a big day, and it's such a big moment. And let's hope that we continue to see the positive spin on it. Real clear politics. I mean, I don't know how much I want to get into this. I mean, the Katie Porter, I believe gubernatorial candidate, out of California. That is just wow. Now, some have speculated that maybe I think that I've saw something and that this was perhaps some leaks on the Democratic side, but there was an interview that she did with a reporter. And then there was some stuff that came out before, and it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable, in my opinion. And whoa, here we go. Wait a minute. Senator Mike Lee here on X, quoting the Washington Post, Jeff Bezos' Washington Post. Now, Washington Post, yes, Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. His Gaza agreement, though fragile, adds an unprecedented peacemaking record. Senator Mike Lee, look at that. And Washington Post is MAGA. Unbelievable. And so there's some different things going on there. But I mean, this Katie Porter thing, going back to that for a second. Let's hold on. Let's just go to the Politico article on that. That was there's been some clips circulating on X. Oh my gosh. And here we go. Politico. Let's see this. We may show the clips. I don't know. Politico headline. This is from Melanie Mason, Jeremy B. White, Blake Jones, byline 10/8/25 at 9:31 p.m. So this dropped last night. Katie Porter's viral videos plunge campaign into quote unquote disaster. Is this a disaster? Yes, a veteran Sacramento Senators concluded. Wow. I mean, and it's been wild. I mean, it's been wild. If you've seen these, so it goes through this type of stuff. And the lingering skepticism about Porter among California's political elite is evident in her campaign finances. She has trailed Becerra in collecting checks. I mean, there's a lot of questions here. So and this is, it's first of all, it's super early. Okay. So the whole idea of who's a front runner and stuff like that, I've been involved in California politics, a while back ago. I'm a political expert, political science undergrad at Berkeley, and law degree from Berkeley, involved in consultant to different campaigns, including two U.S. Senate campaigns in the primaries in California and in Florida. So I like to think, and I'm a lifelong political, I don't know, student, if you will. I don't know. I like to think I know a lot about these things, and so I think it's very, very early, but it's the Democratic Party right now is in a tough spot, in my opinion. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that you look at New York mayoral race with Mandami, or AOC and Chuck Schumer and the shutdown, or you look at Chicago, you look at Katie Porter. And the Democratic Party is very much animated by the base, by the more left wing, challenging voices. I'm not quite sure how I want to characterize that. So let me revise and extend that a little bit. I think that the moderates are not winning the day right now in the Democratic Party, if you will. But at the donor level, particularly, what you see here is you see a lot of I think you see a lot of concern. I think you see a lot of concern, a lot of people that are very concerned about what's going on. And then we see things coming out like here. And it's weird because could you get away with that behavior? Well, hold on, give me a second. I want to think about exactly how I want to say this. Look, I'm all for free speech. I'm not for cancel culture. I'm not a snowflake or anything like that or whatever. And I've had, if you're professional sports or if you're different industries, even Steve Jobs famously, and I'm not, rest in peace, Steve Jobs and everything like that. But there's been, in Silicon Valley and military, there's all kinds of different stories of tough bosses or demanding bosses or things like that, right? On the other hand, I mean, the demeanor, the condescension, that kind of stuff from Katie Porter, I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think that was politics at its finest, or maybe even Katie Porter at her finest, right? I mean, and I think that people are having strong reactions to that. Some people have had that kind of boss, and I think that politics and media and entertainment are some of the maybe fashion, there's a couple little, and I don't want to, but I mean, I know, politics and media, that's what I have experience in. There's some industries, maybe automotive, right? There's some industries where I think there's, that behavior may be more recognized or more, that workers may that may come up more often than in other industries, in my opinion. And so, I'm really curious to see what people think about that. Is Katie Porter's gubernatorial race over? Do you think she bounces back from this? I mean, there's a long time. Is this a signal to Democrats again? Is this Nancy Pelosi? I'm not speculating. I have no idea. I'm not alleging anything. Who dropped that? Who dropped that information there? Who put that video out? It's a good question. It's a good question. So there's a lot going on, and there's so much more going on. But going back to the Middle Eastern stuff and the peace agreement, I was saying that for a while, it's just common sense that, in my opinion, that you needed. Right here, we've got the Jerusalem Post. I mean, hold on one second. We've got this up here. Let me go to. I've got two of them open. Okay, here we go. Jerusalem Post, he's bringing them home. Donald Trump right there, a picture of Trump. I mean, it's just phenomenal. But I was saying that, listen, everybody's got to get something in the deal. Everybody's got to get something in the deal. And it's time to wrap it up, and it's time to find peace. It's time to find a better way. Both sides have been through so much. Tragedy, misery, all the rest of it, the economy, it's tough on all of it, right? People are hungry. I mean, it's again, I think it was a bad situation for everyone. It was a bad situation for Israel. It was a bad situation for Gaza. I think the world was reacting to the images and pictures out of Gaza and the situation there. I think obviously October 7th was terrible and horrific. It's 2 years. And the thing is, it's kind of like, hold on one second. let me put this on full stop and go totally in a different direction for a second, because nothing I'm going to say has anything to do with what I've already said, other than in a very, very loose metaphor, if that makes sense. Okay. So I don't want to get, and again, I'm doing this live and stuff, and it may not be perfect, and I beg your indulgence on it. I love everyone, peace, love, freedom, opportunity, prosperity for everyone, and all that type of stuff. So if I make a mistake, I do apologize ahead of time. But it's like, if you've seen these things, and whether it's a movie or whatever, or if you're a kid, you're growing up, whatever, and for whatever reason, maybe you're a kid in school, some bullies messing around, or someone, or your friend, or whatever, or sister, or brother, whatever it is, and somehow you get to tussling, you get in some kind of little scrap, you get into some kind of little fight or something like that. And it may go on for a while. It may be protracted, or it's not even physical. I don't like you. I don't like you. I'm not talking to you, or you did this, or you did that, or you talked to my boyfriend, or some guy I liked, or I'm supposed to do this, or you took that, or you used the car when I want it. Whatever it is, some disagreement. And this goes on for a long time. And at some point, you forget what you're even arguing about. That the argument becomes about the argument, or the fight becomes about the fight. Like it gets enmeshed, and it becomes diminishing returns. Where everyone loses more. Again, like I said, this is not a perfect analogy whatsoever, and this is totally separate from what I was saying before. But what I'm saying is that focus on the argument or the conflict, whatever, can just eat you away. You know what I'm saying? And at a certain point, you realize that, like, what am I doing? Like, what like, you're not getting anywhere. It's not, the possible upside is greatly exceeded by the possible downside. I'm kind of stumbling through this, but I think hopefully it's making some sense. And that doesn't mean that there's never, that you don't have to answer for things and national security and all that type of stuff. Of course, I mean, and self-defense and whatever, and that's fine. But I mean, at a certain point, there you have to find a way forward. Again, take Russia and Ukraine. Who's won there? I mean, that's been devastating. Who has won there? And so, however that's going to settle up, you got to find a way out that's going to work for everybody. And in order to work for everyone, you got to make it work for everybody. So I think that along those lines, when I was talking to some of these mega money people, very successful people, big platform people, billionaires, stuff like that, it's like these conversations, it almost, that's debate me bro stuff, it almost became like, let me prove to you for the 100th time, the 1,000th time, the 5,000th time, well, why I'm right and you're wrong, why our side's right and the other side's wrong, or whatever like that. And okay, at a certain point, I'm not saying that I agree with any of that, but I'm saying like at some point, the time for all that stuff is long gone. And it's like, what are you doing to find a way forward? What are you doing to make an agreement that can work for everyone? What are you doing to advance the conversation? What are you doing to advance the analysis? If you want people to feel like golden rule, you do unto others as they do unto you. If you want people to see you as have empathy and recognize your humanity and all that type of stuff, you have to do the same for them. So, I think it's a huge day. It's extremely positive. I hope that it holds. That's all we can do is give peace a chance and all that. Not to sound like a hippie or whatever, but I mean, I think it's like, this is a big, big day, and huge credit goes to President Trump. And you have to find a positive way forward, And so, envision a better scenario, better Middle East. I mean, again, whether that's looking like Dubai or whatever that is. But I mean, how do you create a situation in society where that's going to really work and be aspirational for Gazans and Israelis and, Jordanians and Lebanese and all, people in the region and make it all work. And then it's not for us, the USA or whatever, to figure out if we and the rest of the people, world, UN, whoever it is, can somehow assist or facilitate a little bit. I mean, that's fine, but it's really for them. They got to figure it out. And that's where a lot of people are saying, like, hey, why is our money involved and why is weapons involved? And again, I don't want to get into all that type of stuff. And Israel's a great ally and stuff like that. And then there's other people on the other side. And I when people were trying to punk out Bill Ackman and silence Bill Ackman, I defended him. And the same thing with, and Tucker said up there, oh, Bill Ackman's not impressive. Bill Ackman's extremely impressive. what are you talking about? And Tucker's great too. You know what I mean? I have my strengths and I have my flaws. We all do, right? And then I like to think that my strengths exceed my flaws and stuff like that. But I think this is the same advice I gave Barry Weiss, and people were trying to cancel Sean McGuire, and I didn't like that. And people were like, "Oh, why'd you do?" Keith the boy took a picture with why take a picture? Hey, I'm a lifelong conservative Republican. I'll say what I said before, and I keep retreading. That's why I don't like to talk too much about this, because I keep retreading the same conversational points, and I just I don't want to make sure I make a mistake, whatever. But if President Obama wanted me to take a picture, if I got invited to the White House, he was there at an event or whatever, I'd go. He wants to take a picture, I'd take a picture. I mean, like that's just respect for the office and stuff like that. Plus, I mean, if you're going to do a deal, this is before the deal was done. He's the prime minister. Who are you going to do a deal with? I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? Like there is no fantasy land. You have to deal with what you have here. I'm in the Mearsheimer kind of, political foreign policy realism and stuff like that. So, but I think that it's now, and I don't want to get too into this, but I will say, and I'm not even going to name names, but I will say that there's been some news that broke this week. Tangentially related to certain subjects, with some, I guess, text message thing or whatever it is, and some and then how does that square up with what some other people were saying? And when the advice I gave with you look across what the different statements from different people, and people wanted to attack the messenger. Who cares what the messenger is? If is the message true? And in fact, that was confirmed to be factual, I believe, in my opinion, from Turning Points USA. So one of the, and I'll just leave that where it is. And that's, everyone can speak for themselves on that. But the reason I bring it up is one of the things I said to Barry Weiss, who had a big deal, and congratulations, Barry Weiss. And he sold the Free Press for some 150 million, some huge deal. And then she's going to be taken over. She's going to be editor or something of editor-in-chief or something, or managing editor. I don't know what the exact, I can't remember exactly, but I know it's big. It's major, of CBS News, which is huge. And there was also a deal on TikTok on the table, and Paramount. And there's a lot of things that are happening, different things. The Ellisons are making some different moves. And I think, Larry, and I think the son David, I believe that's right. But, the advice I gave her is, to the extent that she wants to listen, stuff like that. But I think Sean or someone liked it, what I said, or Joe Lonsdale, one of them, I don't know, is, and listen, I think that I hope that those people have some respect for me. I've had some different conversations with those folks, in various means, whether it's comments or emails, whatever. I'm not going to get into that, but they don't need to talk to me, right? But I mean, and I agree with them on some things and disagree with on other things, but I respect them. And you have to have that discussion. They've changed my minds on certain things, or there's been some evolutions, and hopefully I've changed it. And that's what it's all about, dude. That's how we get better together. Like, I don't understand these people think you can shout down on someone or debate me, bro. I'm 100% right. You're 100% wrong, or it's all my way. It's not none of your way. How life doesn't work like that. How does that make any sense? Does that work that way? Does that work that if you're married, does it work that way in your marriage? Does it work that way with your kids? Does it work that way in your relationship? Does it work that way at work? Tell me where that works, where you're not like the total boss or something like that. And even then, you know what I mean? Like, come on, life doesn't work that way. So one of the things I said to Barry Weiss is, listen, it's a lot of people are worried about advocacy, stuff like that. And first of all, if you're a conservative, like that, are you, or whatever, where, I don't care who you are, Tucker, whoever, are you happy with the CBS? Are you happy with CBS News now? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, players? Did and again, I'm not saying I'm not saying anything about anything like his, but I'm just saying like look at the Washington Post before and look at the Washington Post now. Is it improved? Yeah, I think it's improved in my opinion. Now, if you're very liberal, you may not think that. So going back here, what I said to Barry Weiss is, and I got to find the comment. Maybe, I don't know. I may not be able to pull this thing up. I'm not super duper organized for this show, unfortunately, but it's been busy with a lot of stuff. One of the things I said, let's see if I can find it quickly. If I can, I can't. But I mean, I know what I said is, listen, stick closely to the facts wherever they lead you, right? It's not about, anything. It's whatever. I mean, just stick closely to the facts. We have some things here I'm gonna go to. I'll probably go to my feed anyway. Let me just try to. And what else did I say? I said a couple of different things here. 1 second. Hold on. Now I'm because I'm trying to find this. I'm looking at the same time, so I'm kind of like forgetting slightly what I said. But it's basically like have the hard conversations, continue to have the hard conversations, stick closely to the facts wherever they lead you, and just improve, but provable facts. And that's what I'm saying. Like if you are a news organization and you follow the news, that's what I also said. I said have a bottom up instead of a top down, sort of in terms of topic covers and things like that. Like where's the audience want you to go? What are they interested in? I think part of the whole thing where I think there's a disconnect is, I think I'm pretty close to it, is the idea that like we're still in a zone where, and again, I understand like, yes, the media has a big impact and stuff like that. Oh yeah, I got it right here. 1 second, but the audience is going to tell you what's what. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. We got this right here. So let's see what this is. Okay, and it was Joe Lonsdale. He's great. And so Joe Lonsdale, and I think he's done some stuff with Barry. I think he was an investor in the Free Press. I think that they teamed up together for University of Austin and Texas and stuff like that. And so I said, it's great, and congrats to Barry Weiss. Congrats on improving CBS. I worked in the news desk intern for CNN, so San Francisco Bureau back in the day. Lots of potential upside. Happy to share potential ideas for free sometimes. If you want general ideas, stick to provable facts wherever they take you. That's it. And that goes back to the little text chain that got released, which is, some people are like, oh, well, you can't trust the source. Well, it turns out that was accurate. It was confirmed as accurate. So now what? What were people saying before that got released? Why wasn't that released before? Does that conform with what some people were saying about some different things? So again, what are the provable facts? Opinion editorial is great, but labeled as such. Keep engaging in the more challenging conversations, but also positivity is welcome. That's the thing. Like we're right, you're wrong. Red, blue, different sides, whatever. People want to enjoy life and have some positivity and go where the audience takes you. A lean bottom up, not top down. I mean, that's okay if you have like different, but that's part of. I think. Always a challenge for, I don't care what you're in, whether it's a certain platform like X or DC or New York, whatever like that. It's, in these different areas or spaces or elite spaces or silos or whether it's geography, whatever it is, it can be a little bit more of sometimes you can have that bubble effect, that insular type of effect where, you have to be able to get out there. That's why, give credit to like a Mark Halperin or Trump or whatever. You got to go talk to the people. You got to see what they want to say. So anyway, so there you go. So I said some stuff there. Now going back up here real quick. No. Let me try to find it fast. And there is the Katie Porter stuff. I don't know if we're going to show that or not. That's pretty crazy. Definitely pretty crazy. And so let's see here. Dolly Parton, she's doing great. Yeah, this was the interview that really kicked it all off here by Julie Watts. And Piers Morgan, excellent interview. You behave with exemplary professional rigor. Miss Porter behaved like a rude, arrogant, entitled brat. California voters will have learned a lot. And then I just, you can go check that out on my page and stuff like that. But there definitely was more that came out in this one. Okay, so I cannot. Well, you can see what this says here. And this is what. Now, this was the one that supposedly, that's I think that's from Politico. I think that was released by someone on the Democratic side. And someone comes in this shot here. So if we go over here, and, I'm gonna just silence that here for the sound. So they come in here, and then there's definitely this reaction, and you can see that you get out of my blanking shot. Okay, and that was that. So look, a lot of different things going on there, and then you have Dan Turrentine, then who said that basically, quote, goes. This is from Jason Cohen from Jason Journo DC Daily Caller. Good guy. Dan Turrentine, quote, I've spent a lot of time around that office. She is condescending and patronizing. She absolutely believes she is right. Wow. So, I mean, the Democrats are definitely responding to this. Now, this is Howard Lutnick. This is a public domain, so I will release some of this.
They want to say something. All right. All right, hold on.
It's great.
President Trump, you have the best crowd in the world. What do you guys have to say to President Trump?
Thank you.
Thank
you.
You did it.
You did it.
Thank you.
Amazing.
This is amazing. Mr. President, we believe in you. I know you've done so much for us over the past, since you became a president, and even before that. And we trust you fulfill the mission until every 48 of the hostages are home. Thank you so much. Blessed be the peacemakers.
God bless
there we
Mr.
go.
President. God bless America.
Hey. Let's go back to that. I like that.
And God bless America.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Blessed be the peacemakers.
Right there, players. Come on. Where we at? Right there, dude. I mean, that's what we need, peace and stuff like that. And I think that was the thing where, one of the things that I was arguing for, not advocating for a while is, people that were strongly on one side. It's like, okay, but look at certain point, look what's going on in Gaza. It's heartbreaking in the hospitals and the kids, and it looks like a parking lot, and it's going on and on and on. And it's like, you have to be empathetic to that too. You have to see that and say, this isn't good. This isn't good for anybody. It's not good for anybody, right? On the other hand, you see these hostages, and you see these family members that are just waiting for their loved ones to get back. You see, what happened with whether it was the, different incoming stuff happening, whether it was the Houthis or the 12-day thing with Iran. I mean, war is bad for everybody. You have to be empathetic. You have to understand that you have to engage with different people to be able to move it forward. So very, very complicated. Huge props to Trump. We're going to wind down a couple more things right here, but this is just great day. Okay, so we had that. That's good. That's just me working out. No big deal. Okay, and then this is a key, right? So that's when Rubio told Trump that this looks like this is, might go. Here we go.
Criminal conspiracy.
Okay. I'm just giving. I was just given a note by the Secretary of State saying that we're very close to a deal in the Middle East, and they're going to need me pretty quickly. So I will take a couple of more questions.
Yeah. So just a great day. I wanted to great week. Let's see what happens. Let's hope that it's going to hold. And I will reiterate what I said before, which is, peace, love, prosperity, opportunity for everyone. I've got family over there in Israel. I've got I've got friends and contacts, throughout the region, stuff like that. Obviously, tons of people here. and there's been important conversations. I respect everyone's point of view, and I think that you have to find a golden rule again. You can't expect people to be cool with you if you're not cool with them and stuff like that. And free speech for all, peace, love, freedom, opportunity, prosperity for everybody. Blessed be the peacemakers, and let's find a way to build together, love each other, treat each other well, and everything like that. And that's where it's at. So I hope this works. Very complicated, and that's all the more credit to President Trump and his team, and the leaders of the region and the negotiators from all sides that were involved here. So I just want to wind down on that. And we'll get into some other stuff. We'll do some more shows and do different things like that. Love to take your comments, and we'll, try to catch up with some of those later. So that's kind of where I'm at on it. It's a very, very interesting now. I guess technically Friday early morning, but Thursday night when I started this show. So I wanted to put that out there. And I do think I go back to some of the messages I've been sending, some of the real, big time names and business people and stuff like that out there, and huge accounts on X and stuff like that. Some of which I've mentioned, which is like, I do think that there's a better way to approach this. Not to say that I've got all the answers and whatnot, but I think that we need to find better ways to discuss and engage with each other and stuff like that. So anyway, that's another subject for another day. But my name is John D. Villarreal. Peace for everyone. Great day. Great job, President Trump. We appreciate you. The team's doing amazing. So I hope everyone has a great night, and I will see you later. Thanks so much.